What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to give you an overview of what is happening to Lucid, go over some of the data points, what shorts are doing, go over a lot of the things that's floating around and everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So currently it is down 3.17%, largely because of several different factors, one of which is just the rising oil prices. And of course, that does typically have a lot of bad repercussions on the broader market. So that is why it is selling off. And secondly, because of yields and the potential rate increase again on September the 20th by Powell. So a lot of that is wreaking havoc on a lot of growth stocks. So unfortunately, Lucid is getting hit as a kind of a double effect going on. 11.24 million shares being traded, 22.56 million is the average. And oddly enough, when it came down to Lucid, my last video, I was actually very surprisingly optimistic on Lucid for this upcoming week. I thought it was going to break above the 650 mark. And of course, if it does break above that 50-day moving average, then yeah, generally things do happen. But at the time of doing this video, there hasn't been anything coming out from the company officially through either SEC filings or press releases. A lot of unofficial stuff's been coming out. So I'm going to touch on a lot of that because I think in reality, that has been affecting Lucid and just the broader sentiment. So of course, it's going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. So make sure you guys always do your own due diligence. But first and foremost, this. So I think this is one of the hot topic things that a lot of bears are really hanging on to. And similarly, this happened as far as his 2021 compensation. A lot of people kind of looked at it and questioned, why did Peter get paid so much in 2021 when they didn't really do too much? And similarly, now in 2022, when he did make 379 million, which I do agree is kind of high, but CEOs do usually take a lot of the risk, liability and so forth. But still, initially they were forecasting 5 billion as far as revenue. They did generate, I believe, only 700 million, if I remember correctly. So paying the CEO 379 sometimes doesn't always make the most sense. So I do agree that there does need to be some adjustments in the future, especially if Lucid is going to kind of stick to this trajectory. So who knows? But when it comes down to ramping up, we should be finding out some news fairly soon. So hopefully Lucid comes out with something saying that the AMP facility in obviously Saudi Arabia is fully functional, because it was supposed to start on September the 1st. And based on everything that I have seen and heard, it was actually on track. So the fact that we haven't heard anything, I don't know if that's a good thing, bad thing. I'll leave it up to you guys to make that determination. So of course, that's kind of floating around as well. Good old Gravity. I think a lot of people are very, very excited about the Gravity. Obviously, a lot of people are still speculating as far as the price point. But yeah, these look sexy as hell. So I cannot wait until the launch event. And if I remember correctly, I think that is slated for October, if I remember correctly, or it might have been November. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. And then finally, when it comes down to it, this did get unveiled. So the Lucid Air Midnight Dream Edition. So like I mentioned, a lot of good things generally, one negative. So good, bad, and the ugly is kind of affecting Lucid over the last several days. And today is just something different. But I do think that the Lucid Air Midnight Dream Edition is absolutely so sleek. So I'm kind of actually curious to see on the upcoming earnings. So I think if we do get, again, another opportunity to pose questions, I'd like to find out exactly how successful the Stealth package is for selling, because Stealth package also makes it look extremely sleek. And plus, if the Stealth package is going to be used, for instance, on the Gravity, because that would even look so much better. But once again, that's some of the things that's floating around. Like I mentioned, nothing official from Lucid. So again, it is what it is. As far as options though, so currently there's $368,000 in calls being purchased versus 242 in puts. So based on this information, people do feel that it is still obviously to be trending up. So it's not down and out as of right now. If you are optimistic though, it is anticipated to go between the $6.50 to $7 range by the end of next week. So of course that's fairly good. On the opposite end, if you are bearish, a lot of people are under the impression it should be around the $6 range, if not. So roughly about the $5.50 to $6 range. So let me know your thoughts on that. But no matter what, when it comes down to options activity, it does not move the stock price. It is just merely a sentiment. And like I mentioned, just big money has been kind of taking a step back. I've been mentioning this over the last several videos because it is very, very noticeable. So these are all the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market over $100,000. And based on the bid and the ask, you can kind of tell it's kind of mixed. So majority of which is buys. So of course that's a good thing. Dark pool still very hot as usual. Dark pool very linked to shorting. So I'll give you an overview of what shorts are doing today. So short score is currently 75. Utilization is 90.22%. And looking right here, the current short interest is 24.34%. Shorts are currently increasing 507,000. So the way I interpret this data is the fact that they are increasing their position on a red day shows that they feel it's justified. So that's kind of the mentality that's happening right now. 201.45 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 1.48%. So that is just pennies, pennies, pennies. So once again, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. And on a side note, do you think that Lucid is ever going to have a squeeze? I know at one time or another, like mid 2022, based on all the data and a very high cost to borrow, I believe it was at like 200+%. That was the average. I feel like at that time, if Lucid would have come out with some very substantial news, then yes, it could have had a fairly good squeeze. So let me know your thoughts on that, if that's ever going to occur. One thing that as well did come out is a new analyst rating. So it does look like they did initiate coverage. So this is their very first rating. They did give a $7 price target and a hold. 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗚𝗧, who is with that firm, does have a 48% success rating. So kind of good stuff in my opinion. If you are looking for a lot of good compiled information such as analyst ratings, even latest Morningstar reports and all the other fun jazz, take a look at Interactive Brokers, link in the description below and also the comments for all of this to be completely free. And while I'm on here, latest Morningstar report was updated, I believe as of last Friday or Thursday, but it does show the fair market value for Lucid being $8.54. So that's based on their assets and obviously inventory and things like that. So once again, I do feel that there is a lot of upside with Lucid, but clearly the market does disagree with today. But with it being at $6.09, it is currently between this S1 and the pivot. So as of right now, $6.52 is a very strong resistance, but like I mentioned, I do feel, and I did feel, that potentially it can still get above that and within kind of this range, so the P to the R1. But as it stands right now, that is the next big resistance. Vice versa, $5.88 is that next strong support. So you kind of really want to watch that holding in the next couple days, especially if this sell-off does continue. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid in the comments below. As far as momentum shows, number of retail investors are getting out today. Stochastic is currently at 57, so a little bit neutral in that regard. No defined trend though. So based on the technicals, it's kind of starting to break down, because even if we look over here quickly on this, it has and did try to transition into the higher percentile of the Bollinger Band, but it failed, looks like, over the last 6 trading days for the most part. So definitely that is a very strong resistance it needs to get over. Similarly, right here, that 50-day moving average. So as it stands right now, this is kind of normal a little bit. If you kind of take away the whole oil and the other factors, then yes, if whenever a stock does bounce off of a very strong resistance, usually it pulls back, consolidates, and tries again. And in Lucid's case, they've always done things weird based on the technicals. It always reminds me of just someone completely just pounding at the door. And that's what Lucid does. When it wants to break above something, it literally just pounds consistently at that resistance. And in some cases, yeah, it breaks above, but most times, or more commonly than not, it does just consolidate and try again. And so, yeah, I think there might be still some opportunity for Lucid to trend up for this week. So give yourself a shout out in the comments below if you've been buying, selling, holding, what you have been doing with Lucid. And also on a side note, I'm very curious to hear a lot of people's viewpoint on Peter's salary for 2022. Some people are literally hung on to this like it is just bread on butter kind of scenario? Or do you think that this is normal for the sector? Kind of what's your take on all of this? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And even though Lucid is going up, down, sideways, all over the place, take advantage of promos such as this. This one just launched on September the 1st. Link in the description below and also the comments. Completely free to sign up for an account with Moomoo. They also offer free level 2 trading, $0 commission. But if you do deposit $100, you get 5 free stocks. Each stock can be valued up to $2,000. So this is one of the best deals out in the market. So with all that said though, I appreciate all of you watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.